Right then. Hello, everybody, whoever's watching.
And if you're not, it's your loss.
If you're not, it's your loss. Yeah, this is my new friend Glenn.
How you doing?
Yeah, and he's got a big project going on. We're talking about that in a bit. So, Glenn, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
I'm an adventurer. Yeah. When I was young, I went to the mountains, fell in love with it, started mountain climbing and all kinds of crazy stuff. Fell off Mount Olympus in Washington State, helicoptered lift off to the hospital, spent 7 days in the hospital on morphine, which was wonderful. Yeah, and that ended my mountain climbing days. And then I went to school to become an aircraft mechanic, and I got an inspiration one day just at somebody's house. I mean, out of the blue. I had nothing to do with aviation, and so I went and checked, and so I went to college for 2 years, got an associate degree, and I have a FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, line to work on aircraft, jet engines and the airframes. And I did that for about 7 years, and I got jealous of the pilots on fixing their airplanes. Is it working still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just can't see anymore.
Don't touch it.
And you know, and one day this idiot captain gave me a hard time because you can't argue with captains. And I'm like, you know, if that MF can do it, I can do it. So I sold my Hobie cat on the beach. I'm a big sailor, and started taking lessons, and quit there. Moved to Valdosta, Georgia as an aircraft mechanic, and the man owned the shop. He gave me free flying lessons, 2 hours a week. I got my private pilot's license that way. Moved back down to Florida, and all that transpired. And couldn't find a job. Had all kinds of experience. Had all the ratings, the instrument, the commercial, the private, everything but the ATP, which is Air Transport Pilot Rating, which requires 1,500 hours in America to get. Anyway, I saw an ad in the paper one time. What's that magazine? The Air, big newspaper in America. I'll think of it when I'm not thinking of it. Anyway, and I saw a little ad in there for aircraft mechanics. I had all my ratings at this time, but I could not find a job. I lived in South Florida, and the competition was horrendous. They want people with thousands of hours. I had no hours hardly. Anyway, so I saw an ad in the paper, come work for Alaska's biggest airline. We're hiring C-130 mechanics. They had a couple of C-130s that they got from the government, and I had happened to work on Mark Air's C-130s in Ypsilanti, Michigan. We hired them for extra cargo carrying capacity, and of course aircraft need maintenance every day, but they would hire us to do overtime with bigger checks like a B check and some C checks. So I'm like, hey, I used to work for those guys on credit down in Michigan, so I sent a resume to Curtis Millard, who is the director of maintenance. And by the time I got home, this is back in the day before cell phones and all that stuff, you know, and I got back home and my phone was ringing. And he's like, hey, is this Glenn Walker? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, who is this? I'm Curtis Millard. You see, you worked on our airplanes years ago, a few years ago. Want to know if we're ready to hire you with your experience up in Alaska. I'll hire you right now over the phone. And I'm like, well, okay, that's pretty cool, but I've never been to Alaska, and it's 5,000 miles away from Florida, right? Yeah, anyway, I said, any chance I can, you can give me a ticket to come up there, let me check out your operation, see if I want to move to Alaska, because Florida's paradise like it is here in the Philippines. Anyway, did all that, decided to hire it, packed one of my vehicles up and drove 5 days and 8 hours, slept in my car 18 hours a day, up through the Alaskan Highway, big adventure. I got there the 31st of December, because I spent Christmas with my family at the time, in Florida, and then the next morning I took off and drove nonstop to Alaska. Anyway, started there with the full intention of sneaking in the back door of the company as a bush pilot, and it worked. It worked. There's a big story behind that, but I don't want to bore you with all of it. But it worked, and before I knew it, I was in a test flight in a place called Bethel, Alaska. And what they say about Bethel is they try to get you out there by saying there's a beautiful Eskimo behind every tree. There are no trees in Bethel. It's built on permafrost. But I knew better because, anyway, I'd been out there working as a mechanic with them periodically. And anyway, I got in the airplane with Mike Flores. Now, these guys, they're, bush pilots. Anybody seen Flying Wild Alaska, all those cities? I flew up there. Anyway, they all had beaver hats and Carhartts on because it's friggin' 40 below zero, right? Well, they were waiting for the temperature to drop to minus 30, where they can operate a piston engine airplane. Turbines can operate to minus 40, and then they cut those off. So I walked into this really cool pilot hangout place. Everybody's dressed up waiting for the temperature to rise, and Mike Flores found me there, and he says, "Hey, are you one of the guys they're sending out for an evaluation flight?" I said, "No, nobody told me to, no. I just interviewed yesterday with the director of operations and everybody, and they said, come out to Bethel and try to imagine yourself living in Bethel, so here I am." And Mike says, "Well, this is effing Alaska. We can take these planes out anytime we want. I'll give you a test flight, and I'll tell them whether you're ready to be hired or not." And he convinced me to do it, but the conditions weren't right. I had to work a midnight shift, and so I flew back to Anchorage, and the next morning I was out there again. As soon as it got light, temperatures warmer, he took me out to the smallest runway they have in Alaska. It's called Eek, E-E-K, Eek, and made my approach to land, and I realized that my first approach, it was a very short runway, dirt runway, and so I went around, came back around. Now I got the feel for that runway, came in, landed, backtracked, taxi, take off. He gave me a couple of maneuvers, and he said, "Take me back to Bethel." He says, "You have how many hours?" I said, "About 250. He says, "We require 1,000 hours to be a bush pilot, but you fly better than 90% of the guys they send me out here." So next thing you know, I start bugging the director of operations of the flight department. "Hey man, hey, I got, let me go to work now. Come on." And it was a big pain in the ass. The guy Jeff somebody. Anyway, but I'm checking in that friggin' office every week for a class date, because it's springtime and they hire pilots in the spring for all the summer flying, tourists and what have you. And then one day I went in and I saw Jeff in the office. I said, "Jeff, man, you've been promising me a class date." This is after about 4 weeks. And he says, "Well, I'm not the chief pilot anymore." I'm like, "Okay, great. Who's the effing chief pilot now?" And he said, "That guy over there." And it was, I can't think of his name, but this guy was a pilot. He flew a Beech 1900. He was like the lead instructor, and he was a down-to-earth guy. He'd come in and talk to me about airplanes, because I was real quick. I had so much experience in maintenance. They made me a lead man within 1 week. So I was making sure all the paperwork's done, the airplanes are getting serviced that we were working on, and LaFave, Mike LaFave. And I said, Mike, you're the chief pilot, man." I said, "Get me in a class." And he looked at me and says, "Oh, I didn't know you were a pilot." I'm like, "That's the reason I came to Alaska." Next week I was in a class, and they said they're going to put you in Bethel, which is a shitty place to fly. And they says, "We'll watch you in a Cessna RG 172, and we'll keep an eye on you. And if you do good, because it's dangerous flying in Alaska." I'm like, "I'll take anything, man. Get me in the seat or something, yeah?" And so I went out to... did the training all in Bethel and stuff. Well, it just so happened I have an A&P mechanics license. I can work on their airplanes. So they sent me to a place called Aniak, which is a beautiful place in the mountains on the Kuskokwim River. That's the second biggest river in Alaska. The biggest one that everybody knows is the Yukon. And before you know it, I was living in paradise and flying bush planes and risking my life and chasing moose and diving to caribou, and that's how I got started there. And I flew there for about almost 2 years, and then just climbed the ladder of different places until my goal was to be a captain on a heavy jet flying around the world, making at least $100,000 a year. 4 things. And I decided this a long time before, as soon as I got into that small airplane. I wanted to fly the biggest airplane in the world. And so I was already 34 when I started flying. So I just pushed myself and got to the point where I'm interviewed with a company called Gemini Air Cargo. They're flying DC-10s, 4 of them that were bought from Lufthansa and converted to freighters. Well, they hired me, and I couldn't believe they hired me, but they did hire me as a co-pilot. Got on the seniority list, and within 1 year, because the airline was growing, I made captain on the DC-10, which is the coolest airplane I've ever flown. 2-man crew, captain, first officer, and flight engineer. Flight engineers are gone from the planet Earth now, for the most part. Some planes still have them, but very few. And that took me from there. I ended up filing bankruptcy in 2008. I owned some property, filed bankruptcy. I had nothing, 0 money in the bank, and then I got lucky and got hired by Saudi Arabian Airlines as a captain on an Airbus 320. I spent 6 years in Saudi, 5 of which was Saudi, 1 year with one of the richest princes in the world flying his Airbus around. And got out of there, came back, and people in the Miami airport, Miami has got the most airports in any part of the country. And I used to work as a mechanic down there. I just know a lot of people. And I flew with at one point I flew with a company called Tradewinds. And they shut down after a year because they crashed 2 airplanes and the gas lost their contracts. Then I had to file bankruptcy, went to Saudi. When I came back, they had changed their name. It was called Skylease. And they were flying MD-11s, which I went from Gemini. They had DC-10s, and then they upgraded, got some MD-11s, which is just a 2-man crew. And I flew that with Gemini till just before they went out of business. I got out of that company. And from there, yeah, so I get back home, and I know all these people's names, man, but somebody told this guy, I'll think of his name in a minute, that I was back in town, and I'd done training with him at Skylease 7 years before, when I flew the Boeing 747-200 series with a flight engineer. And they hired me direct entry captain on that because of my previous experience on the DC-10 and MD-11 heavy aircraft. And started flying for them on the MD-11, and they did that for about 2-3 years, and then they were going to phase out the MD-11s, so I had to go to the Boeing 747-400, which I did not want to do, but I needed a job. So I went to that, got checked out on that, and then they decided they're bringing back one of the MD-11s, and nobody wanted to go back to the MD-11. I'm like, I'll take it, because I was immediately #1 captain on the airplane. I got the first choice every month of where I wanted to fly, and I did that for another 1.5 years until they got rid of the MD-11s, and I went back to 747 until retired in June of 2023, and came here by accident. I'm a big snorkeler, scuba diver in the past. Anyway, I can hold my breath for 5 minutes. And stumbling around searching for property in the Philippines on Google Earth, I came across Camotes Freediving. I'm like, well, I got to check that out. At the time, I was living in Armac City while I was still working and commuting on my days off over here from America. And so I came there to Camotes Freediving and stayed in this hotel, actually, which I ended up trying to buy, but the deal didn't work out, thank God. And this man had a property next door to here that lives just down the road a little bit. And I went and talked to him, and I said, hey, sir, you got this jungle piece over here. Would you be interested in selling it? He says, no, I have 36 properties, I think, on the island. I've never sold anything. I just buy property. So I said, well, sir, would you take 100 million pesos for that property? And he laughed at me and said, yeah, of course I would. So I went, well, you have a price. What is it? And I said, it's not 100,000 pesos, 100 million pesos. And within 3 hours, got a call from one of his daughters and said they wanted 9 million pesos, I think. I negotiated it down to 5.7 million pesos, which was 30% more than the land was worth, because I had to have it on the cliff, because when I saw this place, what I'm sitting on right now, used to be air. And I told the old owner, you should make an infinity pool. He says, well, why don't you buy it? Then you can do whatever you want with this land. Instead, I bought that place over there, started jackhammering with a giant excavator, and you'll see the video. It's I never planned on building a hotel or the deepest swimming pool in Asia. And for a hotel, standalone hotel, i.e. you want to swim in a 10-meter deep swimming pool, fresh water, with the best views on the Camotes Island, period. Anybody that sees this and disagrees with me, come and see me. I want to talk to you about it.
That's true.
It's true.
It is one of the most impressive views I've ever seen.
That's what everybody says. But I saw it immediately, and it came from the universe, man. I'm not crazy. It just popped into my head like becoming an aircraft mechanic years ago.
So also, the place that you're building's got 8 rooms to let.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yours on the top is a penthouse.
Yeah.
Right, that's for you and the wife and
right, so it's the equivalent of four bedrooms below me, but one of those rooms is opened up, and it's just a huge balcony overlooking, as you'll see in the video, Tulong Diat Island, which is the only island that's directly off the coast of the 3 big islands. So it's got the best view of it's the best view as far as beach views with a little altitude. And
it is a beautiful view, I must admit. So, what inspired you to build a hotel?
Labor costs. I couldn't do anything like this in America. Labor costs are it's unbelievable. I'll just throw this in. Anybody that watches this, and I hope you have a lot of people on your channel. If you're struggling in America on retirement, man, you come here, you can live for $1,000 a month, and that's having a maid 8 hours a day, having a nice place to rent for $1,000 and eat out every day at the barbecue. You could eat out every day for $1,000 a month. If you have $2,000 a month, man, forget it. You're king of the jungle over here. I suggest everybody move over here, but only.
I would agree.
Yeah, see.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the women are beautiful.
Yeah.
They're more caring. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got your scammers, obviously.
Yeah.
But isn't that the same in every country in the world?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
I was married twice. I know.
no, but you see all these people say, "I don't want to go to the Philippines." The scammers. It's the same in any country you go.
That's right. It is. You just have to know how to weed them out.
I mean,
because,
even in where I come from, the UK, there's plenty of women there who scam you. They'll
Yeah.
marry you. 6 months later, they've got everything.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah. That's not fair, people.
it's not fair. You're correct, but it does happen.
Yeah, that's why when I met my partner, I said, I'm never getting married again. You want to get married, find somebody else. I'm not getting married. And then she got pregnant mysteriously, and which is wonderful. I have the most wonderful baby. And then, I'd still not going to get married. I don't need to get married. If you get married in the Philippines here, you can be really screwed over bad. And you have to be careful because really about 80% of foreigners that come over here and meet women, they get it right up the arse, if you know what I mean. So do
They
research.
get shafted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of you people that might be watching this are watching. What's Filipino P on YouTube? Filipino P. She's has, I'm going to say about 85-90% good advice for
Yeah,
listening.
I'll watch Pooh.
Because this is how it is. When I was young, I liked older women. When I'm older, I like younger women. It's kind of a paradox, I guess. But yeah, well, these young women, these men come over here like me. Not saying this is my story, but they come over here and the young Filipinos will throw their love at you like it's a golden ticket if you're a foreigner, especially American. Because all Filipinos, most of them, want to come to America. Why? I don't know. I got out of America, but
Yeah, that's why I picked one that didn't want to go to the UK.
yeah, don't
Yeah,
blame
she
you.
wants to live here
Yeah.
because she knows that the quality of life is better.
Exactly. Yeah, this is paradise. When I came here 3 years ago to do the free diving instructor course, which I passed as an old man, it was very difficult, I realized this island was a diamond in the rough, man, a diamond in the rough. The main road around the island was not completed. It was patches of concrete strips. And within about a year, they had the whole road finished. There's an airport here now. It's not open yet, but they have a big enough airplane to handle an ATR-72. You can Google that if you want to know about that airplane, but that holds about 75 people. And from Lapu-Lapu Airport, it's about a 15-minute flight. So this island is taking off, and there's people like me. This is the tallest building in the Camotes Islands, and I have, like I said, the deepest swimming pool for sure in the Philippines, but in all of Asia, I cannot find one. All deep swimming pools, like the deepest in Dubai, it's 190 feet deep. However, it's a training facility. You or me can go pay there and dive in it, but it's not private for hotel guests. So, but in general, I think this on the world stage, this pool is probably about number 22 from the deepest pools on the whole planet. But for a hotel, it's the deepest one. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody that wants to get in that pool.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, you're going to be able to get in the pool without even staying in one of my rooms. When you come back, you'll be staying for
We'll
free.
definitely come back to have a look, see how it's going.
Yeah, and so somebody's going to pay whatever I want to get for it, and if I don't get anybody, then I got a penthouse view with lots of rooms for my family if they ever come over here, and a private pool to swim in. This is the deepest in the world. So I'm happy. I love it here.
So how long do you think it's going to take to finish?
No, I'm at the final stages. We're pouring. You saw those forms today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping to pour tomorrow, but we're not ready. So tomorrow we'll prepare everything, and then Monday I have a cement truck coming. So we're pouring everything but the last 4 feet of the pool, and that'll take two big cement trucks, about 20 to 25 yards of cement. But yeah, that goes in by Monday. And I've also we started a business. My engineer, the guy that I met here, a year and a half ago, has become a good friend of mine, and he's a civil engineer. This guy's a genius. That's all I have to say about it. He doesn't know what time it is, but he is a genius. And we've started a construction company. We haven't done any work yet, but it's called www.deepstoneconstruction. on the World Wide Web, and we have office space already, which is incredibly inexpensive. And I bought a boom truck in Cebu about a month ago. It's crazy. My hotel is going to be nothing but the best because I've stayed in the best hotels in the world. The interiors are all going to be made. I bought 10 trees, mahogany trees this big from the jungle. I can't even tell you how inexpensive they were. But anybody knows about trees, mahogany, and that's going to be all the doors, all the decking, all the interior furniture is going to be made. I bought woodworking equipment. I bought a giant bandsaw from the island of Bohol, shipped it over here on a pump boat, like that pump boat size, and set it up in the jungle, and we're still waiting to get trees, get them cut up. But I have found a sawman, and my engineer's like, I don't know, man, he's building boats and making money, and I'm like, okay, let's find out how much money he's making, and I'll pay him more. I said, I'll give him 800 pesos a day. Foreman here gets 650 pesos a day. Regular workers get 400 pesos a day. You can do the math calculation, but it's very inexpensive. So, you know, I'll get him. Just like I got that land, I had to pay extra for it. But if I got a skilled man.
It's a beautiful piece of land. And I must say that the way it overlooks the bay is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get many hotels like that. Especially exclusive also.
Right.
I mean, that really will be. I'd say a 5-star exclusive hotel by the time we finish.
I could make it 5-star, but you can't because of the infrastructure here. It's not a 5-star quality.
Is it something to do with the restaurants as well?
It's got all kinds of stuff, hospitals available, and good. And also the restaurant.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a restaurant, I don't believe, to have a 5-star, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But you can
I think
go.
the rooms will be 5-star quality.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Especially with the plate glass you're putting on the front.
Yeah. Yeah. John will show you that, but my penthouse on the western wall, which is 3 rooms, will be nothing but ceiling to floor glass that's 13.5 feet high, or what is that, like 3.5 meters tall, just a wall of glass. And all the rooms are open on the ceiling, so you see the beams of the concrete, and there's just fantastic airflow up there. There's always a breeze because it's at I went up 50 feet with the building with only 3 floors, so there's nothing like it. I've been all over the world, man. I've never seen rooms like this except suites in Singapore, you know, that are 2 bedrooms, that kind of stuff, with glass, you know. But yeah, this will be unique. And it looks like I'm getting Guinness Book of World Records for the Philippines, and maybe for Asia.
Yeah.
Deepest pool in Asia. Hey, there it is. Chrissy's Castle and Chrissy's Deep Dive.
Chrissy's
swimming pool. That's my baby. Yeah, my little baby free diver. Yeah.
Well, do you know, Glenn, I really hope it all works out for you. I really do. And, you know, it's been great to talk to you.
It's been great meeting you, too, and I'm sure we'll see you again.
I mean, we met by accident, really. I was stopping in the hotel over the road, and Glenn walked across and says, hey, man, how you going? So I said, yeah, coming in. And that's how it all started. But I'll definitely come back. Well, when we come back, we'll come back in the car because you really need a car here to get around, to see everything you want.
Well, that's a matter of personal opinion. I don't need one. I got a boom truck. What more do you need? And a motorcycle.
That's true. Good to go shopping in.
Yeah, I can shop for the whole Esperanza community in that truck.
Yeah, he's got a big pickup truck, and he's got, in the UK, we call it a high-ab crane on the back, which is for craning goods from the floor onto the back of the truck. Did you know it's called a high-ab in the UK?
No.
Yeah.
They call it a boom truck in America.
Yeah.
Here they just call it heavy equipment.
Yeah.
A boom truck heavy.
Anyway, Glenn, thanks for speaking to us.
Absolutely.
And it's great to meet you.
Yeah.
And your lovely wife.
And don't forget my YouTube channel. You got everything from jungle to a giant pile of thousands of pesos on the floor that my daughter, when she was younger, is like, this is what the money I'm gonna buy a hotel. We're gonna build a hotel. And she's so young, she's barely talking, you know.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in 5.7 million pesos on the floor of his house. I was worried about getting robbed or something, you know, but nobody's going to steal from Ricardo Almacin.
No.
Yeah.
Like I say, well, it was great talking to you. I'll leave a link to his
YouTube page.
To his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
In the description.
Captain Glenn Alden. GLENNALDEN.
Okay.
But it's pretty easy. You
Anyway,
can follow
folks,
it, and I appreciate it. And anybody that sees my video and comes over here, I will consider a hefty discount.
Yeah. Just ask for the discount. Glenn won.
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. See
Yeah,
you.
buddy.